Summer 2010. Share headquarters. The air feels vacuumed hollow, leaving only the ringing of sheer exhaustion. Months have vanished since the chapman, yet the devastation still lingers, that deathly silent. Still plagues the sire like a 7 elite counter-terrorism expert shattering the seer's open backbone. Transforming a target hunted for a decade, Osama bin Laden, into an elusive, haunting America's nightmare. Shadows engulf the massive tactical briefing room. Walls bleed yellowed photos, flashed with crimson. Dead silence, masking a brutal truth. Utter, desperate burnout. A 10-year manhunt. What a generation dry, seething only flood draped her fins. But their absolute nada. Top secret terminal. Flashes without warning. And Nissa intelligence. So explosive it makes hardened The courier, nicknamed the Kuwaiti. Finally, instantly. Inside the briefing room. The stagnant air surge, a decade of blind hunting, crystallizes into this single tape. Scattering the dark, everyone knows it. The kill is on. To sum up, Bin Laden, it comes down to this: a massive bloodbath triggered by casual gossip and reckless for years. The seer's ult, no matter the pressure or tactics deployed. True of Bin Laden, the Kuwaiti remained as Bin Laden's sole lifeline to the world. Hunting the courier meant hunt the burning question: where was he hiding? The first crack in the wall merged in Morocco. May 5 coordinated suicide blasts ripped through Casablanca in a single day. The carnage. May unprecedented counter between Washington and Rabat, unleashing Morocco's intelligence into a furious within months. They drag in nearly 2,000 most bleeding from a single cell. The Moroccan Islamic Combatant Group, a brutal Al-Qaeda franchise, its hardcore cadre, hardened Arabican vets who served alongside during the Soviet war back home. He's maintained dark, covert ties to all funneled through massive in Mardin, Pakistan, as investigators dissected this blood Moroccan intelligence hit. An unexpected gold mine. The eldest son Ibrahim said on his profile, identical to the Kuwaiti. Born in Pakistan, raised, mastered both Pashto and Arabic, a jihadi track record, before vanishing into thin air around 2 years. His family shared deep ties, trusted as embedded deep inside Bin Laden's both background and operational tracks. Branded Ibrahim a prime suspect. 2007, Morocco hands this critical file to Washington. The Nasser immediately wiretaps Ibrahim and dissects his entire soul. They listen relentlessly for 3 years. 3 years of absolute silence. Finally shattered in summer 2. A seemingly mundane cat, a single wiretap. That seals Bin Laden's fate. August 2000, Ibrahim answers a call from an old friend. A friend already compromised by US intelligence on the line. The target presses Ibrahim, interrogating, "What are you up to lately?" Ibrahim deflects, "Just busy working," but the caller pushes harder, refusing to. Driven by reckless. Busy with what? Where are you? Overwhelmed by the persistent grilling, Ibrahim breaks after a heavy silence. "I'm doing what I used to do. I'm with the same people." The coded message lands. The friend replies, "May Allah protect you." This ominous exchange instantly triggers an alarm. The agency tracks the act, hunting the device, unearthing a chilling operational pattern. The user keeps the phone, strictly stripped of its further armor. Within the same cell tower grid twice, just to execute a 2-minute call. He drives across multiple districts. This wasn't an amateur, this was extreme. Weaponized tricks. Speaking in cryptic movie riddles, every indicator pointed to an extraordinary target, the courier himself. It's a signal triangulation. Laced the source in Pakistan, in the northwestern stronghold of Langley, instantly flashed. Priority directive to the Pakistan, fluent in local dialect. Covert field operatives infiltrating Peshawar with intercept after weeks of agonizing surveillance. The hunters finally, their long-awaited prey. Late August 2010, the target phone pings. The mobile unit locks on, intercepting a white Suzuki Sir. The signal bleeding directly from the chassis. Operatives raised high-powered, capturing the driver, cross-referencing the with passport data. The agency the Phantom's Braim said armed. The Ghost missing for a decade. Next, the field team made abandoning the raid. They shadowed the white Suzuki rolled out of Peshawar, driving hard for 3 hours, covering 200 kilometers, reaching northeastern Pakistan into Abbottabad before slipping inside a massive compound, laying eyes on this fortress. Operatives reared. The decade-long puzzle had locked into place. The compound exposed. The supreme paradox. All bin Laden a fool? He evaded the global superpower for 10 years. Call him a mastermind. He violated the golden rule of hiding in this fortress. It practically screamed. Bin Laden's first. The massive 3,500 square wharfs nearby homes by even in Pakistan. Construction costs into hundreds of thousands, outpricing the entire budget of 9/11. Perimeter walls scale to 18 feet high, round with razor wire. This defensive architecture screams military grade. More bizarre, a 3-story building dominates the center. The third-floor terrace is choked off by a 7-foot concrete. Who demands such extreme paranoid secure global dragnet and at a luxury stronghold. Armed with these facts, to direct a lead, briefed President Obama. We highly suspect Bin Laden is in, yet it remained a theory. No smoking gun existed. Launching a blind foreign carried catastrophic, hitting a Middle Eastern prince instead. Would ignite a diplomatic. Obama issued a strict Canetta. Take here are my orders. 1. Identify the occupant without exposing our hand. 2. Absolute nothing leaks. The SEER validation phase commenced. Satellite reconnaissance revealed 2 distinct families utilize the courier and his brother. But the laundry lines betrayed a secret. Analyzed clothing patterns confirm a third Phantom family lived inside. Their numbers matched Bin Laden's exact pro 3 wives, 9 children, and 3 crucially, despite this heavy. The compound exported 0 trash. Every scrap of refuse was incinerated within the walls. Then, spy tractor silhouette pacing the 3rd-floor terrace. Analysts designated him the pacer. Thermal tracking calculated his height between 6'3" and a flawless match for Bin Laden. Despite mounting the SEER absolute confirmation. The fatal flaw, no facial close-up. Driven to the brink. Director Liam Panetta squeezed his gentleman. Can anyone get me? Fate of this man after grueling micro surveillance and the team delivered a bleak director. It's we can't capture pacer. Anticipates overhead. He keeps his head permanently buried. Panetta's reaction dripped with dark irony, and I remember saying to them, you know, I've seen movies where the SEER can do this. Pop culture aside, actionable intel carries a strict expert desperate to unmask the target. The SEER launched a massive brain, drafting 38 tact most bordered on the absurd. One plan suggested weaponized stink bombs, smoking the occupant, forcing to reveal his another lunatic urge deploying massive A blast the fabricator tension inside. I am step out immediately. Sanity prevails. The seer chose logic over lunacy, deploying a highly calculated risk. Covert, field tested, an operative, masked as a local physician. Infiltrated under the guise of a polio to harvest illicit biometric verification. To trace the compound directly to the operation hit a brick wall. The operative doctor was forcefully turned. Months of intense scrutiny still yielded zero absolute proof, no ironclad confirmation of the ghost, only a high probability estimate. Tantalizingly close, yet the crushing burden shifted to the Oval Office. October 2010, Intel chiefs briefed President, laying out the fragile intelligence confronted with. Heise. Obama hesitated. History loomed like Jimmy Carter's presidency. Fodder. By the catastrophic Aaron Hoss even closer. The ghosts of 1993's black, the Al-Qaeda instructors who trained Summerless to belong to this very the risk-reward matrix demanded merciless. If the ultimate choice was power, they would isolate simpler variables if they greenlit a strike. Who they alert Pakistan, the target sat square on their soil. To dissect Washington's calculus. On raw truth, Islamabad's truce on bin Laden remained deeply duplicitous throughout the war on terror. Pakistan, fiercely reluctant and deeply compromised ally firsts. The Pakistani military harbored along cultivating a pro-Islamabad proxy to counter their arch-rival. Historically, that designated proxy was the Taliban, and bin Laden shared an unbreakable symbiosis. Thus, Pakistan's military brass is a vital strategic asset. As long as this asset drew breath, they could continuously lay for billions in military. The intelligence consensus was absolute. Deep within Pakistan's IZ, rogue elements knew where the ghost. Furthermore, mere 15-minute walk northeast from the stood Pakistan's premier elite, the Kakal military. It fueled dark suspicion. Was this a private estate, or an official government safe confronting this grim reality? Obama drawn a hard line, no matter the operational blueprint, not a single whisper leaked to Islamabad to vaporize reaction time, ensuring instantaneous. The moment the president, the war machine, the Pentagon drafted contingency options for the brass. The problem was binary. Option 1, a devastating airstrike. Strip away the walls. It's just a barrage of dams would vaporize the problem. Option 2, a boots on the ground. High risk. Extreme danger. The primary cost. American life. The airstrike option. Obama, instantly setting aside the inevitable collateral carnage. It was a political dead end. Positive identification would be blasted if Washington proclaimed bin Laden dead, only for him to release a proof of life video. The fallout would be only one path remained. A ground assault. To decapitate bin Laden with the ground operation locked. Obama, the Jizok commander, Navy 3-star William Craven to mastermind. The choice was absolute. At that moment, no operator pedigree to match. He commanded the Captain Phillips and the capture of Saddam Hussein, assuming command. Craven is a SEAL. SEAL Team 6 Elite. SEAL Team 6 divides into 4 core units. Gold, Blue, Red Squadron specializes exclusively in decapitate, making them the absolute choice. The spearhead this leap perfect tactical fit, tasked with the kill. Ed Squadron exploit, constructing a flawless 1-to-1 force deep in the Nevada line to the interior blueprint. Operators engineered shifting plywood, mimicking every lethal, executing over 100 combat runs in 3 weeks. To insert the team, the Pentagon deployed 2 highly classified Mi-60 stealth Black Hawks, christened the Silent Hawk. They possessed radar absorber, evaded hostile with terrifying efficiency. 2. Re-engineered rotor, suppressed acoustic signature, low altitude, ensure absolute tactical surprise. Under the veil of darkness, the birds would breach the compound, hovering dead above the for a lightning-fast rope, catching bin Laden completely off guard, with elite operators reigning from concluding their final dry run. Bed Squadron debriefed a burning question. What is the absolute worst case scenario? What breaks first? The unjust operator pipe. Worst case, the chopper going down hard. Mark those prophetic words. March 2011. 6 months after the Sir locked onto the fortress. After a year of relentless, the asset might burn if they wait, coupled with Red Squadron. Fully primed for the hour of decision arrived. March 14. Obama convenes his inner circle, launching intense national top brass. Flashed over, firing deep division. President Obama, eco-retreat, and in Ames clapper demand total consensus for act. Yet resistance remained. Spearheaded by Vice President Biden, vehemently fought the mission. His core anxieties: shaky, unverified intelligence, and fracturing ties with Pakistan, leaving them completely. Paradoxically, back in May 2000, in Laden penned mapping a precise assassination strategy. His ironclad directive: assassinate Obama, spare Biden completely. The terrorist calculus. Obama was a formidable foe, but a Biden presidency would plunge America into absolute in a twisted twist of pure historic. Two aging titans from opposing, sharing a twisted, mutual debates. They yielded no weighing conflicting counsel. Obama spent locked in deep. Finally, April 29, the commander-in-chief pulled the trigger. 10 grueling years. This was their best shot. Intelligence estimates. A mere 65%, but in high-stakes poker, those are winning odds. At a table this big, you don't fold a premium. No room for hesitation. Hesitation means defeat. Execute. Sunday, May 1, 2,300 hours, low 55 hours after the executive order. The manhunt Operation Neptune Spear is live. 2 Black Hawks, carrying 23, 1 interpreter, and a combat assault, roar out of Jalalabad. 15 minutes in, they breach, penetrating Pakistan to maintain total stealth. The Black Hawks hug the terrain, running completely black. Alots navigate blindly, reliant solely on night vision and behind 3 massive Chinooks. Framble in 1 bird. Holes at the arf unpick. It's a mobile state. The other 2 push deep. Staging in mountains 80 kilometers, carrying 24 reserve SEALs, ready to deploy if the mission goes sideways. Halfway across the globe. Inside, Obama and his cabinet packing the world's highest stakes live broadcast. At the moment insertion the mission takes a design approaching the fortress. It's ready. Hawk 1 was to hover over the instead, it gets trapped in a vortex ring, a fatal aerodynamic trap. The bird thinks into its own downwash vortex, driven by one lethal variable. The compound's 18-foot perimeter wall were built of solid, deflecting the massive rotor, lasting, wrapping the air currents, locking the airflow columns straight up the walls, compounded by the Abbottabad's ambient heat spiked higher than forecast, thinning the atmosphere. This raw, low air suddenly robbed of critical lift. The multi-million-dollar asset plummets. Only veteran tradecraft prevents a total catastrophe, feeling the violent vortex. The pilot refuses instead. He aggressively buries the driving the nose down to ride the momentum forward, to break the trap. The bad news: the tail boom smashes directly into the concrete, snapping the rotor clean off, shredding all stability. The good news: the impact wall absorbed the fatal kinetic energy, burying the nose straight into the courtyard mud, forcing a violent, yet survivable. Miraculously, the assault team crawls with only minor scrapes. Mark Owen, a team leader inside, later detailed it in his memoir. We had simulated it 100 times. Ever next to a solid, against all odds. The pilot executed one of the greatest aviation feats in human simultaneous. The unfolding paralyzed the White House Situation Room. Spectators held their breath, following a tense silence. in Ralm Creven's foyer. Yet, dead calm and we have a bird down. Contingency engaged. Mission continues, with Chalk 1 down inside the walls. The trailing boarded its landing zone. Forced onto the perimeter, saddling the second assault team, with an priority objective breaching, detonating 4 charges. Alterator. Ruthless decoy. Behind the barrel stood a 4-foot solid combat team leader Robert O'Neill. Felt away. This extreme fortification confirmed the target. Bin Laden was inside. They pivoted to the garage, wrapping a secondary breach before wiring the explosives. The door swung open from within. Team 1 had already scaled the southern, averting a lethal blue on. The merged elements spearheaded the storming Bin Laden compound. Held a 3-story and a detach reaching the guest annex. The Kuwaiti courier, 2 crisp double tap, shattered his jaw, neutralizing him in first blood. Operators then punched into the main, clearing the ground, confronting courier's brother and his wife. The hostile raises an AK-47, hatches, or gun, and a limb sweeping to the second floor. They confront Bin Laden. 23-year-old son, the point man, whispers his name in Arabic. Unlit. He instinctively peeks over the banister and drops from a leap, stepping over the body. They hit. Terrified women, but the ghost is elsewhere. The final strike unfolds on the inside the master bed. Bin Laden's paranoid defense, the windowless structure, lines him to the tack as he cracks the door open to peer out. The lead operator unloads. Rounds obliterate his chest and left eye, slaying him instantly. The assault team breaches the bedroom, subduing his youngest, while pumping security rounds into the fallen terrorist. 10 hours. Pakistani time. Bombs shatter the silence. Geronimo was Bin Laden's operational call. He hear confirmed enemy killed in action inside the situation room. Stunned silence, paralyzed by the sudden trial. After a heavy pause, Obama spoke. We got him. Yet, the extraction is far from over. Operators are still in hostile territory. The thunderous explosion from the downed chopper rouses crowds swarm the perimeter. The unit interpreter blocks them, staging a military exercise, ordering them and clear the mob swells, and the Pakistani military scrambles its forces. The clock is ticking mercilessly. Operators rapidly extract DA sample and snap forensic. Before bagging, they harvest a treasure trove of digital evidence, discs, letters, and as the sweep concludes, the backup streams into the to deny enemies are stealth trickcraft. Operators set obliterating the crashed 38 minutes on the ground. The assault force vanishes into the night. 210 mission accomplished. The birds touch down safely in Japan. Pentagon analysts run urgent DA, confirming a flaw with the identity verified. The corpses deep in the Northern Arabian Sea. Boarding the US Carl, the supercarrier, were a brief, strict Islamic burial, respecting traditions, before committing the remains to the abyss. President Obama declared, "The graphic trophy must never become propaganda to ignite terror." The White House sealed every airing the visual. Yet this absolute blackout, wild conspiracy, even Donald Trump, the world's most hunted terrorist, survived. Finally, the digital ghost left behind reveals the terror who shattered the global status quo. 2017. The 470 eased from the compound. Deep inside his hard drive, investigators unearthed a staggering Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, and Detective Conan. Worse yet, the Terror Lord hoarded classic video game Counter-Strike, Final Fantasy VA, and Pokemon. The warlord who aggressively demonized modernity harbored a stunning, bizarre. The global terror master was a closet otaku, escaping into Final Fantasy and Naruto for comfort, while simultaneously real-world this grotesque absurdity forces a ruthless the monster behind the mask, stripping back his life, reveals anti-human. Yet, he remained profoundly delusional. He was no grand strategist. Utter naivety dictated his anti-American crusade, ignited in 1009 with the US deployment on Saudi soil. Yet, Riyadh actively begged for that Saddam's war machine had devoured Kuwait, eyeing the Saudi kingdom next, facing total annihilation. And before their in late the Saudi Orville, the intelligence chief, Prince Turkey, demanded we wield only 58,000 troops. Without Washington, how do we crush Saddam's million-man army? Bin Laden fired back, rely on me. I broke the Soviet Empire. Saddam is nothing. Turkey allegedly laughed in his face. From that delusion to 9/11. In late 7th century, the 21st century, this violent misalignment forged his fractured psyche. He envisioned himself reshaping history. In reality, Al-Qaeda, mutant byproduct of Cold War shadow. When conventional victory proved terrorism emerged as an extreme. Twisted compensation. Cruelty collided with civilization. Weakness clashed with superpower. They fractured, struggled. Faith was perverted, transformed into a proxy for anti-human modern civilization. Rarely witnesses blooding to celebrate an individual's death, but his elimination.